Dear friends, I hope you have beautiful and meaningful time and experiences in last couple of hours, especially when you were practicing self individual meditation. And now we are coming to the discussion Q&A session. I'm really happy to have this opportunity to do this discussion with my good friend and big brother Paul. We, after last March retreat, this is the time we are doing together this program. So I'm really happy, and I would like to invite Teacher Paul to start this discussion now.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Upu. So first, I would like to ask any question. First, please unmute, and then you can ask preferably a practical question concerning your day-to-day practice. If you feel the need to share experiences and to listen to the experiences of others, there is space for that at the end of this program. This question and answer session is not meant for sharing experiences. It is meant to ask practical questions. So please, if any of you has a practical question concerning your practice, feel free to ask.
What is the difference between sound and a noise. We are using two different words, sound and noise. What's the difference? Or what are the differences? I think, and also what I am understanding is our ears can only hear sounds, not the noise. Our ears are hearing only sounds. And our mind is hearing noises. So this is one of the main differences between the sound and the noise. If the mind says, I don't like this, I want to hear something else, or I hate this, then it becomes a noise. So noise comes from our mind, as you said, from the rejection, from the resistance, from the dislike, reaction. So noise comes from the inside, not from the outside. No noises at all in the outside world. Only sounds, pleasant and unpleasant sounds, of course, but no noise. Hatred creates noises. Dislikes create noises. So, if we can separate both wisely, then we can let go of noise. But still, sound is there. Maybe it is not pleasant. We cannot say all the sounds are pleasant. But it is not a noise anymore. And the second thing, we can pay our full attention on that unpleasant sound. Now we do not hate, but still it is unpleasant. And we can pay our full attention on that sound. Like we are paying our full attention on our in and out breathing, or any other mantra, or any other chanting. And while we are paying our full attention on that hearing, we can do this discovery. What's wrong with this sound? What's wrong? Where is the problem? In which part of this sound? So now we are doing some investigation, discovery. We are giving a spiritual value into this unpleasant sound. We want to know about ourselves. Why I don't like this sound? So who can teach us? Who can teach this lesson to us? No one, only that unpleasant sound. Only that unpleasant sound can teach us that lesson, why we don't like it. So in this way, we can transform all those unpleasant sounds as our teachers to learn some hidden and secret lessons. We cannot say all the lessons are pleasant and beautiful, of course. There are a lot of lessons which are ugly and unpleasant, but the wisdom is there. And the third thing, we can ask this question from ourselves: why I cannot enjoy this sound? What's wrong? Why I cannot enjoy this sound? Is there any way, any other way to enjoy this? So as I said in this morning that, or in this afternoon, that we can change the frequency of the sound. This is a couple of ways to change the frequency of the sound. We can do it. And by doing these experiments, we can understand this. It is just a sound, not a problem. It is not a problem, just a sound. I know Paul can contribute a lot.
I feel that when there is acceptance of whatever that arises, when there is no distinction made between pleasant or unpleasant, I like this or I don't like that, that is freedom. When there is no judgment, that is freedom. When we consider something as noise and when we have preferences, then we do not experience freedom. Freedom means to be open to whatever arises. And that gives openness as well. And that brings us to a place of stillness, of silence, and of inner peace. So it is our preferences and judgments that take us away from that place of inner stillness. So when it's possible that we can be with whatever is, with whatever arises, without judging, without grasping or rejecting, just letting things be and accepting them, that is the key to freedom, contentment, and inner peace. So when we consider something as noise, that is rejection. We hear something and we don't want that. But when we develop this quality of, I would call it radical acceptance, without having a mind that judges or has, I don't know how you say that in English, or has certain preferences, likes and dislikes. That is the key to contentment. And that applies also to sound. Then we are always okay, whatever happens. Then there is always inner peace, independent of outer conditions, no matter which sounds arise. So I hope this was clear, because I'm receiving the message that the connection is not very good. So I hope that this was clear. So if anybody else has a question, please feel free. I'd like to say something about that Gita. A very good friend of mine, at a very young age, had a heart attack 3 days ago. And that happened here in Sri Lanka. And she was brought to hospital. To a general hospital. And then later she had to go to a cardiology unit in a bigger city here in Sri Lanka. She's 49. And she lives very healthily, eating vegetarian food, practicing yoga, exercising, and still she had a heart attack. It's very hard to understand how this can happen. It's not something that we expect. You expect somebody of that age to be healthy, to be strong, to be in a good shape, and then something like this happens. Luckily, she's okay at the moment. But she needs to go into another hospital next weekend for another examination in Colombo. It is something that it's completely unpredictable. And still, it happens. So even if we do not expect things, even if the conditions point to it in a different direction, still things can happen that we, how shall I put it? That for us, that we are completely surprised by. We don't have things in our hands. I just heard somebody else, also here in Sri Lanka, a 5-year-old child. Friends lost their 5-year-old child a few days ago also. Nobody expects that. So when when somebody of a young age, when we hear that person has cancer, we don't expect that. It is not within our frame of expectation, but anything can happen. And that is very hard to accept. But it is the truth. Anything can happen. It's completely unpredictable, life. And that is something we struggle with. We don't like. We like predictability. We like a sense of security, a sense of safety. Something that we have the feeling that we are in control. So when that is shaken, we are upset because it's a confrontation with the fact that we are not in control. And the only thing we can do is live as good as possible, as healthy as possible, as wholesome as possible. But still, things can happen that we cannot foresee. And it's good to keep that in mind because it is reality. It's not only older people that get cancer or that get a heart attack or that die. It can also happen to younger people. It's not as frequent, and therefore we don't consider it that much, and we are surprised when it happens, but it happens. It's part of life. It's part of reality. And it reminds us of our own mortality also, of the fragility, of our own vulnerability. It can also happen to us. It can even happen now during this session. Life is completely unpredictable and unstable. That is the truth. So maybe Upul can add something to this.
Well, I think your answer is good enough. Anyhow, you have said a wonderful thing that life is unstable and unpredictable and uncertain. I think that is the beauty of living. If everything is predictable, if we can predict, if we know what is going to happen tomorrow in the morning, 9 a.m., 5 a.m., 9:30 a.m., so and so, I think then the living is over, no more living. So this is a beauty of life. We don't know. Really, we don't know. Anything can happen to anybody. So if we look at this unpredictable, unstable nature from this point of view, then the picture is different. And the second thing, Geeta, you mentioned one word, that natural. Is it natural? Can't say natural. Well, it depends on us. On one hand, everything is natural. If whatever happens, it is natural. And the most important thing is not what is happening in the world. The most important thing is what is happening inside of us. So we are sad now. We are not happy when we hear this type of news. So that is natural. If you are not sad, and if you are happy when you hear that news, then it is unnatural. But your emotions, your feelings, your sorrow, all are very natural. And the next thing is, every day, young people are dying. I don't know the percentage or the number, maybe 1,000 of 100,000 of million of young people are dying. As Paul said, even kids in the world. But are we sad about it? Are we crying for that? Are we suffering? No. Only we suffer because of this person. Gita, only you are concerning. Only you are sad because of this person. Maybe you have heard hundred of younger people, younger than this friend, have cancer or some other sicknesses, but it didn't affect you like this. So what is the reason? The reason is not the cancer, not the death, not the age. The reason is, as Paul said, our expectations, our attachment. So this is a good chance to look at how much we attach, to people, to things which are uncertain, which are unstable and unpredictable. So then we can open a new door, a new light, for the new light. Otherwise, we cry for one person today, and after a while, it became just a memory. We are not crying forever for one person's death, maybe for a couple of weeks or couple of months, and then it becomes normal, natural thing, just a memory. And after a while again we will cry for another incident, and for a while, and then that another incident will become just a memory, and after a while again we will cry. So it goes like that, cycling. So this is a very good chance and opportunity and point to come out from this circle. Enough. Really, it is enough. We can help others. Of course, we can help. We can do our best for others, for their well-being. And at the same time, we have to understand the nature and we have to accept it. Anything can happen in any moment to anyone. Our teacher, beloved teacher Godwin, he passed away in his 60s. Because of cirrhosis, liver cirrhosis. But he never drank. He never drank any alcohol at all in his life. Very kind, very gentle, very joyful, blissful, and wise person I ever met. And nobody expected that kind of sudden death, quick death, especially because of cirrhosis. So who can justify this? Who can give an answer to this question? Things are happening not to make us laugh or not to make us cry, just to learn, just for education, just for transformation.
Following, what comes up in my mind is, it is not so much I have to accept everything that is happening. I have to train the mind in being equanimous. Equanimity basically means that whatever arises, pleasant or unpleasant, whatever experiences you have in your life, you have the wisdom, or you could call it the right view, that there is no stability in life, that anything can happen at any moment, and that life is not there to fulfill our personal expectations. Life happens. We may feel about it, if we feel, whether we feel good about it or not, it just happens, it just takes place, things take place, things happen. So equanimity is seeing that clearly, that life is very unpredictable. Also, life and death. People are born every moment. People die every moment. Also, loved ones die. That is how life is. So we can resist that, we can fight that, we can not want that. We can push that away. We cannot want to see that part of existence. Problem. That exactly makes it a problem. Our resistance to reality, our resistance to things as they are. So your question is, can equanimity help us with accepting the death of a loved one? Equanimity means that we are friends with the events in life. That we are not attached to our personal expectations, to our personal preferences. That we accept things as they are, whether we like them or not, whether they are pleasant or not, even when they are pleasant or painful. So equanimity is a kind of openness of the heart, openness of the mind. It means not being attached to our own preconceived ideas or preconceived notions of how things should be. It means having a heart as wide as the universe. Things are as they are. Life is as it is, regardless of my personal feelings about it. That creates an openness, that creates a spaciousness in the heart, a non-attachment, an embracing of reality as it is.
Well, it's a complete answer. Upekka or equanimity. Yeah, it means a neutral mind, not to go to any extremes. And unfortunately, we are connecting these inner skills. Equanimity is one of the spiritual skills. And unfortunately, we are connecting all those spiritual qualities or skills with the so-called unpleasant happenings like death. But equanimity means not dividing something into two pieces equal. So if we do not have equanimity, then life and death, we think they are two separate things, life and death. And we think life is good, life is nice, the death is bad. We don't like to think about, we don't like to speak about death. It is bad, ugly. Life is good. But we have to practice equanimity while we are living. So if we attach to the life, then of course, death can be a problem. So not to attach to the life is a way to practice equanimity. Do not divide anything into pieces and say, this piece is nice, I want this piece, not that piece. Look at the world as a unit, one unity. Death is part of the life. Life is part of the death. They are not two opposites. So learn to accept the life fully. Life fully. When we are happy, then we want to live forever. Then we are not thinking about the death or dying. We want to live forever. So when we are happy, life is the solution and the death is the problem. But when we are depressed, then living is a problem. Then living is very difficult. Therefore, we think solution is the death, dying is the solution. This is the way how depressed mind thinks. So everything is very relative. When we are happy, then we want to live forever. When we are seriously unhappy, then we don't want to live anymore. Then the death is nice. So see how we are going to extremes. This is not the equanimity. This is not the way to practice equanimity. Being equal to whatever we experience. Being equal. Yeah, once again, we are in one of the extremes with the body. Either we completely ignore the body. We just use the body as a machine to achieve certain things. So this is one of the extremes. Use the body as a machine. And the other extreme is being a servant to the body. Being a servant to the body. That is the life. Body is the life. Feeding to the body is the life. Decorating the body is the life. So no time for anything else. If we become a servant to the body, So once again, we had to come to the middle. Equanimity, not going to any extremes. And listen to the body. It's a beautiful thing, dear Lauren. Very beautiful thing. That means we can listen to our hunger, our thirsty, our tiredness, sleepiness. We are using these words. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. I'm sleepy. I'm tired. So instead of giving a label, we can listen to it. What is this? What is this? What the body is telling me? What kind of vibration is there? Can we point out the exact place where we experience the hunger or the thirsty or the sleepiness or tiredness or whatever? Is it in one place of the body, or is it moving from one place to another, or is it just a sensation? Is it always there, or only from time to time? And is it always same or changing? And how much we are hungry, how much we are thirsty, how much? And when we are eating, when we are having food, we can also listen to the body, to the taste, and then to our stomach. What happens to that sensation called hunger while we are feeding to the body, the bit by bit? What happens? And so this is very simple things. They are really simple things, but it gives us a lot. The most important thing is when we are emotional, when our mind is emotional, and we don't know, if we do not know how to detach from those emotions, then better to listen to the body and ask this question. Mind is angry. How do you feel? Mind is sad. How do you feel? Are you okay? So we better to listen to the body when the mind is too emotional. Difficult to work with the mind when the mind is too emotional. So we need something, some anchor to withdraw ourselves from that emotional mind, emotional mentality. The best friend is our body. The best and wise friend is our body. So we can pay our attention on the body and listen to the body. Listen to our heartbeat. Listen to the breathing, the rhythm of the breath when the mind is emotional. So each breath passes us this message. Too much. It is too much. I cannot bear this. Even our heart says it's too much for me. So body is never justifying. The body is never allowing us to be too emotional. So better to listen to the body. By listening to the body, we can detach from that emotion. We can create some distance in between ourselves and that emotion. Then we can watch that emotion. If we want to observe emotion, then we can observe. And also when the mind is calm, quiet, peaceful, again we can listen to the body. How are you now? How do you feel this peacefulness? You can enjoy happiness. Whenever you are happy, please enjoy it. And try to be mindful while you are enjoying that happy experiences. Don't let yourself melt into that happiness. Try to be aware. Learn to enjoy that happiness mindfully. This is one thing, first thing. And we, of course, happiness is better than the unhappiness. There is no argument about it. Joy is better than the sadness. Of course. For ordinary minds, for ordinary way of living, happiness is the destination. Joy is the end of the journey. For ordinary way of living. So for ordinary minds, happiness is the destination. The ordinary mind doesn't know about anything else. Whenever it is happy, it thinks everything is all right. I am in the heaven now. I am in an eternal paradise. So the ordinary mind never reflects on the impermanence. This is a temporary experience. It doesn't want to open for this nature. It thinks, I am in an eternal heaven. But as we know this, that everything is coming and going. All kinds of joyful, blissful, happy events are coming to us and staying with us for a while, for a short period of time or long period of time, and then they are going back. So while we are enjoying happy events, we better to reflect on this nature as well. It may leave. it may go back. I may alone. I may be alone one day. Am I ready for that? Am I prepared myself for that? So that's a way to apply equanimity into our everyday life. And for spirituality, for meditation, happiness or joy is not the end. That's not the end of journey. Maybe it is the beginning. For ordinary way of living, joy is the end. For spiritual journey, the joy is the starting point, beginning. Happiness is better than the unhappiness, and equanimity is greater than the happiness. It is more stable, more certain, more peaceful than the happiness and unhappiness. It never makes you sad. Happiness, of course, the happiness makes us unhappy. Not in this moment, but later. But the equanimity or upekkha, it never makes you unhappy.
I should.
Well, would you like to answer to this question, please?
Well, what came into my mind when I heard you speak, Upeka, was there's a difference between responding and reacting.
Mm-hmm.
So when something happens in your life and there is an immediate emotion that is very strong and that you are identify with, there is no distance between the emotions and you. You are completely swept away by the emotion. You are the emotion basically, and that is when mindfulness disappears. And that is actually how many conflicts, that's the cause of many conflicts. People are completely identified with their emotion, completely swept away by their emotion, and they react in a very charged way. So then mindfulness is absent. And that is reacting. Responding is something different. Responding means there is awareness, there is a situation, somebody is doing something that triggers an emotion in you, you know it, you see it, you feel it, you are aware of it, but you are not identified with it, you are not swept away by it. You are not the emotion. And that creates space, and that prevents a conflict in many cases. So when there can be awareness of the situation, of the trigger, and also of what is happening in yourself, of the emotion, just the awareness of it, there is a little moment of distance. You are not identified. You are not the emotion itself. You are the watcher or the observer or the knower or the one who is aware or the one who is mindful or the one who is conscious. You see it, you know it. This is what's happening. Okay. You are not angry, you see the anger. You are aware of the anger, but you are not the anger. And when you talk about the intensity, I understand that as emotional charge, as an emotional quality, you could say. You see, the awareness or the mindfulness takes away the overwhelming charge of it. So there is a little more spaciousness, a little more distance, and then wisdom can come in. And then you don't only react in an emotional charged way, but you respond in a way that is where wisdom has a certain place. The wisdom that comes with mindfulness or knowing or seeing or being aware. So I don't know if that is helpful.
Well,
Yeah, it can happen because of the inner recordings, inner audio and video recordings, and replaying. So mind is on one hand recording whatever happens, and on the other hand it is replaying. And unfortunately, the mind itself forgets about this reality. This is just a recording. This is just a replaying. So this is the unfortunate thing, and this can happen because of unmindfulness. So what we can do is we can help ourselves to be in the present. Be in the present. In this moment, nobody is blaming us. Nobody is screaming us. Nobody is criticizing us. In this moment, what we hear, or we hear radio, or we hear television, or a dog, or birds, that's all. That is the reality. That is the present reality. So everything else is a memory. It is a memory. Others, most of the time, others blame us only for one time. But our mind uses that blame to blame us for thousands of times. There is no end for the mind. Again and again, again and again, mind can replay that recording, and at the same time, mind says, somebody is blaming you, somebody is criticizing you. And we believe it. So we better to understand what's the present reality. What is the present reality? And everything else is just a memory. Just a memory. Memory, yeah, it is okay. Okay to have a memory. Okay to remember past. But it is not happening anymore. Not happening anymore. So we better to tell this reality to our body and to our mind gently. It is not happening now. It is not happening now. We had to establish ourselves in the present. If we are fully staying in the present, if we can establish ourselves fully in the present, then the movie is over. The movie is over.
So,
Why we had to be mindful? Why we had to observe our mind or our emotions? Why? Yeah, of course, the very first thing is to relax ourselves, to get rid of emotions or suffering. This is the very first thing. But that's not all. That's not all. If we expect, if you have this expectation, I am observing this, I am mindful, but therefore this pain has to go. This emotion has to leave because I am mindful. So if we are mindful with this expectation, then it can be a problem. Of course, how much we are mindful, that much we can create a distance in between ourselves and that emotion. That's true. But still some degrees of that emotion can be exist. So we have to be mindful to understand it. This is the main and important aspect of mindfulness, to understand, to realize it. What is happening? What is the nature of this emotion? Why this emotion is there? What are the conditions for this emotion? How long this emotion is lasting? Am I the owner of this emotion? So there are a lot of areas to understand. They are more important than just letting go of the emotion. Letting go of the emotion is one small thing. There are much more deep and important aspects of being mindful.
can you?
How long this emotion is lasting. So we are interested in this lifespan of this emotion. So instead of letting go of the emotion, we want to know how long this emotion is lasting. This is one thing. The second thing is what are the supportive conditions for this emotion? Why this emotion is existing? Because of what? Am I the controller of this emotion? Am I the owner of this emotion? Is this emotion only my experience? Or can I experience something else while I am having this emotion? So in this way, actually, you can create many more areas to be discovered by being mindful. And cannot stay with us for longer period of time if we can observe it. If we are not observing, then of course what we are doing is we are feeding to the emotion and we are energizing it, we are recharging it, and therefore we are empowering the emotion, and we become weak and the emotion becomes strong. So we can experience this whenever we start to observe. This goes other way around. But dear Upekka, if we stop by doing this, then it is an endless job. Again and again, again and again. Whenever same emotion comes, we have to do this same job, same job, same job. Because we are not understanding the root of the emotion. What is the seed of emotion? So that's why we had to do those inquiries, investigations. That's why those discoveries are more important than can we feel this group energy? Yes, we are sitting physically in our own places. Physically, we are far away from each other. But spiritually, we all lie in one world, one dimension, one level, one earth. Spiritually, we are not alone. Collective awareness, collective equanimity, and collective consciousness are there, or simply one can say the Dhamma. By practicing meditation, we are having access to the Dhamma, to this collective consciousness or awareness. Let us share this safety energy, this secure atmosphere with others who are living with us under the same shelter, may they be safe, may they have safety feeling. Let us now share this security feeling with people who are living with us in the same village, in the same city, in the same country, and in the same world. May all of them be safe. And finally, we can share this safety vibration with all living beings. May all living beings be safe. May all living beings have safe surrounding.
To add something. Yesterday, it was Upul's birthday. And I know it's very unusual to do this after meditation day, but I suggest that in a moment, everybody switches on the microphone and we all sing happy birthday to you for Upul. And maybe I can give you the tone so it's not a cacophony of 30 different tones. So maybe we can start like a happy birthday to you. Okay? Wait a minute. Okay, so please all switch on your microphone now. So Upul, out of gratitude for this day and for everything that you do, Iti Lambe and in the world. Iti Lambe and in the world. Thank you. Thank you. And happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Upul. Happy birthday to you. From all over the world.
Touched by your true friendliness and genuine kindness, dear Paul and dear friends. Friends, I know for some of you this is early morning and this is midday for some of our friends, and for some of us this is early night. Anyhow, I also feel good energy with all of you, and also I had a good opportunity to reflect on this topic in a silence, and I hope after this retreat we all make some extra effort for continuation of this meditation practice for this journey. Time is uncertain, unpredictable, so let us use each opportunity, each moment to look at ourselves, to understand ourselves, and to help ourselves. Once again, thank you very much, dear Ma. You have earned a lot of merits by organizing this beautiful retreat. And so we all wish you to have more peaceful and more joyful and more healthy life. Then, dear friends, let us see each other in each meditation practice. We can meet again and again in our everyday practice with this intention. Let us close this session now. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.